When I was a child, Christmas was a magical, wonderful time. And I remember being so excited when on the day after Thanksgiving, our family would go out on a farm owned by a friend of the family, and we would traipse through oftentimes the snow to pick out our Christmas tree. And it would be one of those old red cedar, stickly, awful trees that grew wild in the countryside. And we would pick the perfect one that would fit perfectly in the house. We'd cut it down and we'd put it in a tub of water in the basement, so that by the time we put it up for Christmas, it had greened up. And we took it upstairs, our perfect tree, and we cut off half the branches on the bottom, and we cut off the top about 2 feet down, and it fit perfectly. Sometimes we would spray it with that awful pink stuff that was supposed to look like snow. But it was our Christmas tree. And we would put lights on it. And I would sit there in awe of the lights. And I was the one, those lights, when one goes out, they all go out, those little pointed bulbs that some of us remember. It was my job, and it was my joyous job, to test them all and make sure all of them worked before we put them on, and then to find the one that didn't work after we put them on. And then we would decorate. And like a lot of people put ornaments all over the outside of the tree, I hung the ornaments inside the tree. And I put the lights inside the tree. Because my joy about the Christmas tree was to be able to sit in the living room all by myself in the dark of the room with the Christmas tree lit, and be able to let my gaze go past the outside, to go deep into the tree, to find the beautiful ornaments, the walnuts that had been covered with glitter hanging inside, and the little elves that would dance around as wind hit it. And I would look inside and see what was there, because I was enthralled with mystery. Santa Claus was so important to me because it was mystery. And at that age, it was just beyond my comprehension that packages would show up on Christmas morning that I hadn't seen before. And in our house, the tradition was the Christmas lights were left on all night so that Santa could bring in the presents and see where his milk and cookies were. Magical. Why was that so important? Because each of us knew when we looked into the world that something was missing. That the everyday life that we lived in and that we experienced with our neighbors and our friends and our families and those at school and church, everybody we interacted with that we got frustrated with and that we got mad at sometimes, we knew that something was missing. We were longing for that something, but it was like we had forgotten some part of life. Christmas time, the magic was there, the hope, the unknown, and we hoped deep inside that within that unknown, life could be changed. Life could be better. Life could bring back that part that we knew was missing. And for me, that's why Santa Claus was so important. And it helped me to understand that there was a mystery in life that we couldn't explain, but that it gave us hope. That mystery gave us hope, and without hope to live into, we have no life. We have no life. And so I grew up constantly looking for this thing that was missing. I would go down to the church on Christmas morning, and I'd sit there all by myself back in the days when nobody walked to church. And I would sit there all by myself on Christmas morning, whatever day of the week Christmas came upon, and I would sit there and I would just stare at the cross. I was weird. But I would sit there and just stare and wonder, is this what's missing? Is this what's missing in the world and in life? You know, it's kind of like we have forgotten who we are. It's kind of like we are a bird that has forgotten how to fly, or that we even could fly. It's like being a fish that finds itself in this liquidy stuff and just sits there or floats there because it's forgotten how to swim. It's like a child who all of a sudden is afraid of the world that he and she used to explore with great joy and anticipation because we have forgotten or learned that the world is not the joyland that we found at the playground or on Christmas morning. You know, the family was always in a good mood on Christmas morning, and so that's why it was fun and it was good, because that's the way we felt like life should always be. And so we sat in the wonder of Christmas. And it has always been this magical, awesome time for me. And I have never lost my joy of lights, rightly. And I have never quit putting ornaments inside the tree. And I have never quit sitting and enjoying looking beyond the outside and seeing what was on the inside of the tree. An angel came to Joseph and said, Joseph, don't be afraid to take Mary as your wife. And it says that Joseph was a righteous man, and he didn't want to cause public shame for this person. And that tells us something about Joseph. That righteous meant he wanted to do what was loving and kind and good. And so he wanted to do what was good for this young woman that was to be his wife, who all of a sudden was pregnant. And the law said he could do away with her. The law said he could shun her in public. The law said she could even be stoned with rocks. And then Joseph had this thought and this feeling inside that there was something more. That there was something more than just following the religious law or the Roman law or any other law, because he loved this person and didn't want to hurt her. And so he went to sleep with all that on his heart, and an angel appeared and said, Joseph, what you're feeling in your heart, what you're feeling in your heart that you want to do for Mary, what you're feeling in your heart that you think is better than the life in which you live every day, that's what you should follow. And don't be afraid to take this young girl, Mary, who is pregnant through the power of God. Don't be afraid to follow your heart and go out into the world with your love and my love. And don't be afraid to risk it. Don't be afraid to risk following your heart and going out into the world and saying to the whole world, there is something more. What has been missing in our lives, there's something more. And it's the love of God that comes to us and encourages us to follow our hearts instead of our logic, instead of our fears. Don't let fear come into your heart and kill the joy and the love that you know is there. The thing that's missing in the world is love. The thing that angels bring to us is the ability of God to speak to our hearts. Angels bring messages all the time from God, and the first thing they say is, don't be afraid, for this is God speaking to you. And it is the best way God knows how to speak to our hearts and not to our minds. Christmas is a time of the heart. Christmas is a time when we can put all of our theologies away and all of our bickering about what this means and what's right or wrong in the Bible. And Christmas is a time of listening to our hearts and coming together knowing that God is speaking to us through the angels. It's not just dreaming about sugar plums. It's not just dreaming about nutcrackers that talk. It's not just dreaming about elves and fairies and all the magical, mystical stuff that we like to put together into this mystery of Christmas. It's about receiving the love of God in your heart. That love that is already there and you know it's there, but the world makes it so hard to let that love out. It's like we have forgotten who we are. We have forgotten that we are children of God, not children of the world. That we are children who have been taught by God over and over through generation after generation, talked to God's people and said, I am your God, you are my children, I love you, so go out and make the world a different place. Don't fall into the fear of the world, follow the love of God. Because I have sent this child into the world, and you shall call his name Emmanuel, God with us. So that when we experience that sense of something's missing in our lives, when we experience that point when we want to look and keep searching in places that we haven't looked before, and we're cleaning out the attic, and we're cleaning out our jobs, and we're cleaning out our lives of all of the anger and the confusion, and we look at our checkbooks and we think, how am I going to pay for my bills? And we look at our family and we say, how am I going to enjoy Christmas? And we look at our jobs and say, how can I put up with this one more day? And we look around and we see homeless people freezing to death on cold winter nights. What kind of world do we live in? But when we look around and remember the message of the angels that come to us to say, fear not. Fear not, for unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior. And you shall call him Emmanuel, because he's here to remind you who you are. You are a child that God loves so much, that God sent a child into the world to remind you that God is with you. Always. In any situation. And God is speaking to you in your heart and saying, since I am with you, don't give in to that fear. Follow your heart. Follow the love of God. And make a difference for God. God. Emmanuel. God is with us. Amen.